Welcome to Rodney Full Circle and today's live stream. Tonight, this afternoon, I want to talk about snack control. Controlling our cravings, controlling that snacking, and self-control. And that overcoming these things and dealing with these things one step at a time. I have been dealing with snacking ever since I got my own money. As a child, I didn't get to do a lot of snacking. Nope. Very little. Hey mom, can I please have a snack? And what did I get? Carrots, celery, not cookies, not candy. That was very rare. I'm curious. What kind of snacking were you allowed when you were a child? Was it like lots of sugar or lots of like healthy stuff? I did not hate the snacking that my mother insisted upon. I actually liked celery. I liked carrots as long as it wasn't cooked. I was about to say, who dreamed up cooking carrots? I get it. I've done so much studying now. I now know that the reason why people of the past would cook their vegetables to death is because it was the only way to make the food safe to eat. And they would just destroy the food. Absolutely destroy it. And I learned that. And that our habits today, we can kind of get away with it because of the way our food is grown. But I've been learning actually that we really should return to our roots, because all this super fresh vegetables apparently is not as good as we think it is. Tonight we're going to be going over snacking and the way snacking, how we engage with snacking, and how that works with our dieting and getting healthier and giving up the lifestyle and the food that led us to a place where we needed to change our diet in order to get healthy. I am going to be engaging with any questions, though I see I did not make a pinned comment, so I've got to remember to say, hey guys, you got any questions? I do like it when you engage and you can push back and say something and ask questions and just like go ahead and ask questions. I will engage and I will respond. But I do have a script down here that I'll be referencing to be able to stay on track so I don't ramble and end off somewhere where I don't belong. Here's one of the things I wanted to ask, the core question about tonight. And that is, if snacks help us cope today, why do they keep us stuck tomorrow? And what do our habits reveal about what we truly believe? When I entered the carnivore lifestyle, I was having to give up an entire belief system in order to be able to step into consuming this new diet and changing the way that I thought about food and the way I thought about health and how you would get healthy. It is amazing to me how inaccurate that was. The stuff I believed before. My whole worldview, my whole life was founded on that being true. And then all of a sudden to find out, no, it's not true. Let's start with question number one. When you reach for a snack, is it hunger? Or are we just trying to feel better for a moment? And for me, it was a mix. And I think this is true for all of us. Sometimes we truly are actually hungry and we're grabbing for a snack because we don't have time, or we're lazy, we're tired. I think a lot of times it's just straight up we don't have time. It's first thing in the morning. We've got to go get the. We got to catch the bus. We got to catch the train. We've got to get. We got to get. We got to get driving because we have a commute and there's going to be rush hour traffic and we're not going to be able to stop. Or we don't eat breakfast at home, but we'll stop at the 7-Eleven or out here in the East in Canada. It's called the Circle K. They don't have 7-Eleven. Why don't you have 7-Eleven? Anyways, and we dive in there and we're grabbing a couple of things, maybe a donut, a muffin, coffee. Myself, it was some chocolate bars, a donut. I didn't care for muffins all that much, but I would consume them. But I was more for the chocolate bars and chips. I didn't do the granola bars all that much. Expensive and I don't know, hard to chew. And that I was really hungry. I was actually trying to deal with hunger. But how often do we reach for snacks because we're bored, or it's just out of habit, or we want something to just feel good, at least for a moment? How many of us, our lives are just running on the ragged edge where we're trying to keep up with bills and demands of family and our social life, and if you have a religious life, church, and there's just so much demand on us that sometimes reaching for a candy bar is at least I can have a little moment of this. I think a lot of times our snacking is built on a multitude of things: hunger, lack of time, habit, boredom, and just wanting something nice for ourselves. I don't think that hunger, I don't think that snacking really has to do with our hunger. I would say the vast majority of the time. I think it's just habit, and that's it. Habit and trying to feel good. What do we believe that snack will do for us right now? Does it help us with focus, relief, reward? It's all of those things. I think it's all of those things. I think it helps us in a moment for different reasons. When I was working a super long shift, it was a quick way to get something to eat, to get rid of the edge. I would talk about that a lot. I'm going to have this chocolate bar, this candy bar right now. It gets rid of the edge. I can quickly eat that and be ready for my next client, my next student. And it wasn't healthy, and I knew that, but eating something healthy was harder and not always desirable. I got to be honest about it. I mean, here's the healthy thing to eat. And you know what? I would buy that healthy thing, an egg salad sandwich, chicken salad sandwich, a vegetable sandwich. But with it, I would also get the candy bar and the chips. And it was reward, it was escape, relief, all that kind of stuff. Not so much yeah, you know what? No, it was focused too. Because if I was really hungry, I wasn't able to pay attention to my students. And so, eat the chocolate bar, and it gets rid of the edge, and I can pay attention to my job. Here's something that we hear in our society a lot. You deserve this. I now bristle at that line. You deserve this. This is something that is owed you. You're gonna eat this thing. You're gonna experience this thing because you deserve it. There is some debt that society owes you, and that's why you can have this thing or do this thing. And I struggle with this because this has been weaponized. Okay, this is not the only reason, but one of the reasons why I do not like this phrase is is that it has been weaponized to get you and I to buy things that we do not need and do not help us. When, like, I forget what company it is, but you deserve to have a break, or you deserve to have lunch. I think it was you deserve to have a break, and it was the idea is that you're going to have a break and go purchase their product while you're having this break. It wasn't. It really wasn't all that great what you were buying, but you deserved it, and so you were compelled to buy this thing, and it built a compulsory, a habitual habit where you were always going to their store for the break that you deserve, and they're making money off of you trying to give yourself something that you deserve. I'm a bigger fan of worthy. You have worked hard, and the money you have, you did earn that. And if you want a treat sometimes, yeah, you're allowed to buy that, sure. But I don't think that we should think of it as we deserve it, because it becomes a thing of, like, this is our only escape, this is our only pleasure, this is the only moment I get today where I get to think about myself, things like that. And I don't think everybody really thinks like that, but it just brings up those images in my mind. You're worthy. You're worthy to enjoy some things sometimes. You've earned that money, and you've got a little bit of extra spending cash, so sure. But when we are enjoying that thing that we are worthy of, it shouldn't take over. How do I say this? I'm phrasing this poorly. When we are consuming and having that thing that we are worthy of, it's just something to enjoy on top of already a great life. When it's deserved, you've suffered and suffered and suffered, and now you get to have the thing. And now I'm overselling my point, so I will move on from there. I really think that you're worthy of the things that you like to enjoy. Have snacks. What? Did I write this wrong? I think I did. Snacks have become almost like a little peace offering to ourselves. Oh, yes. Yes. You see, when we feel like this is owed to us, it's almost like it's an offering, like you would give to a god. And it's almost like this self-worship that we give to ourselves so that we can have this little moment of peace, this little moment that's ours, it's just for me. And I don't think it's evil, and I'm adding a lot more drama to it to make the point, to point it out, than the way we really approach it. But it is kind of like that. And the next question I have here is, what does your go-to snack, what does our go-to snack say about where we're trying to find comfort? And I'm going to say that we are finding comfort in that which is immediate but very temporary. And it comes at a tremendous cost, and that we are willing to trade a lot of ourselves for a little of something else. And I'll say that we have been trained this way. Think about all that you had to give for your education that you're still giving for because of all the debt, so that you could get the privilege of being in debt for a house, to be in a privilege of being in debt with a car. Like, we give so much of ourselves to get so little in return. We're trained this way. And the food that we're eating for that moment of comfort, I think it offers the same kind of trade. We get very little in return, while we give a whole lot to, the company that gives us Coffee Crisp and O. Henry and Mars bars. They get a lot, and we get very little. I'm curious. What triggers your snacking? What is it that when you really feel like, I want to snack, what is it? Is it stress? Is it actually hunger? Is it boredom? What is it that really triggers you to want to just have a little something. For me, it's treats. I like just getting a treat, and food represented a treat, and curiosity and habit. Every time I went to the gas station, fill up on gas, and get a little something to eat on top of it. I did this every single day. Hey, project, I hear you saying here it's sustainability. Oh, I see, Sabrina. Boredom. You know, did I eat out of boredom? Yeah, I did. Yeah, I did. I would get a huge break at work sometimes, and it wasn't uncommon. I would make my way to the 7-Eleven or gas station, and then purchase, purchase something and eat and watch YouTube while I had my job and making the money. I was watching YouTube and consuming, candy bars, chocolate bars, chips, whatever, waiting for my next student that might be 4 hours away. That was a really common occurrence. When did we move, or when did I move from eating for ease to taking real control of my eating? What changed in me? Now I'm asking this to myself. I wish I could ask this of you, but what was it that took it to a subconscious kind of boredom? Yeah. It's not like present in mind. Like, think of a teenager, a young person. The boredom is like really in forefront in the mind, and they seek out things to do. Where when we get a lot older, and we leave childhood and we're in our adulthood, we're not thinking about it. It's a distraction, isn't it? Solid point. Solid point. When did I move from eating for ease to taking real control of my eating? You know what changed? You know what actually did it for me? It was knowledge. When I learned that the obesity that I was dealing with and the kind of like the weak body that I had, I'm out of shape. I am out of shape. But there was more going on than just being out of shape. I was experiencing things in my body as I was getting older that was causing me a lot of distress. My father had heart attacks, and that was in the back of my head as I was gaining more weight and not able to get control. And there was I was eating out of just like, I didn't know what else to do. And when I was able to learn that I could actually take control of my eating, and that it wasn't going to cost me $1 million, and it wasn't going to require a whole bunch of extra work in the kitchen, and I wasn't going to have to just, I don't know, good health felt like it was for people who had tons of time and tons of money. And all of a sudden, I learned how the human body actually works and what food does for us, what food does in my body. I was really surprised. It's like, oh, you mean this is what food actually does, and this is what qualifies as food. And it was like when I got that that knowledge, I was able to go to a place of taking control of my food so that I could use it for what I needed versus using it to experience something. Does that make sense? Does that make sense? Like my body requires fluids. It has to have fluids. We need water. We need liquid in our body. So instead of going to 7-Eleven or, well, 7-Eleven or those kind of places to get something to drink so I could enjoy something, I got something to drink because I just needed something to drink. I needed fluids. And I got to make sure to keep my fluids up so that I don't become dehydrated. That takes a lot of pressure off of constantly trying to purchase fancy drinks. In fact, one of the things I am trying to overcome is the diet drinks. Because at the end of the day, I'm only doing that for pleasure, for the sweet. Instead of getting something to drink so that I can hydrate my body. Athletes, if they're responsible, will chase after something to drink so that they can hydrate their body. That's it. I don't know if I am now, as I think about, okay, anyways, next question before I get myself too drowned in answering the one. Which emotion shows up before the urge, fear of missing out, pleasure, whatever? Oh, I see what I was asking here. Okay, which emotion shows up before the urge for snacking? And you know what Sabrina was saying? You know, boredom, habit, never fear of missing out. Maybe as a child, I definitely would have felt that. I would have, but not in the way of snacking. That would be like the meal. I'm at church and they have some great food and I want to get to enjoy some. I fear missing out on the good food. But when it comes to snacks, no. It's habit, it's boredom, it's hunger. A momentary peace, a moment of peace because I'm getting to feel that pleasure of having that sweet food, right? It's nothing fantastic. And this is one. Is the snack solving a real problem or just silencing one we don't want to deal with? For me, it is silencing something I don't want to deal with. On top of that, getting to enjoy something. There wasn't much I was getting to enjoy. You know, nowadays, who has tons of money to go on trips, to buy fancy cars, to go do crazy things? The economy, wherever we are, we are having to work hard for the dollars that we make. And snacks can offer a little bit of pleasure. A little bit of pleasure. And it is easier to snack than it is to try and solve our financial problems, relationship problems, work problems. Anybody here paid attention to politics? It's like, just shut that out. Give me a chocolate bar. Give me my bag of chips. Give me my, whatever. And just shut out the world for a little bit, Why do we keep believing food will bring peace? And I think it's because of the advertising. I think it's because of the advertising and the habit. You see, when we get a little bit of peace from that food, it does not last. We're all very aware of that. It doesn't last. And I think that we just keep going back to it because it is immediate. It's right now, and it's a heck of a lot more doable than trying to solve the major problems that are going on in our lives, including our health problems. When you're wildly obese, I was, and I still am obese. I'm overweight. I think I now qualify as overweight. But I'm still overweight. It is easier to just give in to the snack, to give in to what we like eating, than to say no. Especially when we're in the middle of it. I'm used to what I do now. And I find not eating actually really easy. It wasn't that easy at the beginning. I had to eat. The only thing I could do was actually just redirect my diet. I had to redirect it. It's like, you're going to eat exactly the same amount. You're going to snack and everything. But if you just redirect just redirect it, you will find that you can have success, Rodney. This is the message that came in loud and clear when I was doing my initial studies on the carnivore diet and how to lose weight. You see, I wasn't fixing my habits. I wasn't fixing them. Instead, I came to understand, and I now suddenly see that I've got myself a bunch of volume over there, so let's turn that down. I came to understand that, okay, what changed my habits wasn't fixing them, but instead was identifying the beliefs and coming to understand new beliefs that instantly gave me power to overcome my bad habits. It was if you've ever tried to fight with getting rid of bad habits, and we all have them. We all have them. One of the things I have discovered is that if you understand where your bad habit is coming from fundamental beliefs, and you change those beliefs that you live by, all of a sudden, the habit that you wish to get rid of, it fixes itself. It does require a bit of discipline. It does, but not nearly like it does when you're trying to fight yourself. Like, I deserve this, but I'm not going to do it because it's bad for me, but I deserve it. What if I change that to I'm worthy of good experiences, or I'm worthy to have a healthy body? And I want a healthy body. I really do. And this is antithetical to my goal of having a healthy body, and it's what I want. I don't want this. I want that. And now all of a sudden that candy bar is really not all that interesting. I still want a snack, but I don't want the candy bar to be what solves that. And if I lower the number of times that I even eat stuff like that, and maybe I only do it a couple times a year, I will enjoy that a whole lot more than if I do it every single day, because I will have no guilt. I'm not going to feel guilty when I change, when I come to understand what is true. When somebody who is not an alcoholic enjoys a beer or enjoys a wine a couple times a year, I don't think that that person thinks that that drink is somehow good for them. They know exactly what they're doing, and they know why they're doing it, and they have full control over it, and a part of that control is what they believe about themselves and their relationship with that drink. I think the same thing is true when it comes to us and snacking. Does that make sense the way I'm saying that? If only you could respond. I wrote this question down. What was the biggest belief I had to unlearn about food or self-control? I'm curious. You have different beliefs, and you're trying to overcome, your health and gain control of your health and get to a place where you've got the type of health that you want. And what was one belief? It doesn't have to be the biggest belief. Just what was one belief? What is one belief that you're having to overturn and undo in order to gain control over your food and over yourself? For me, one of the biggest beliefs I had to unlearn, is that plants are the healthiest way, the best way, in order to get healthy. If you want to get healthy, you must consume primarily plants and whole plants. The less cooked those plants are, the better. And I believe that with all my heart, even though I consume tons of Kraft macaroni and cheese, a highly processed food. I still believe this. And so I thought, the more I eat uncooked or gently cooked vegetables, I was doing better. And that if if I ate things like beans, legumes, nuts, grains, the whole grains, I was doing way better than when I would eat a hamburger. And it's not that the hamburger had meat in it that I thought to myself, oh, I'm now eating something unhealthy because it has meat in it. I thought the thing itself was unhealthy, period. And I thought that when meat had lots of fat in it, I thought that was unhealthy. I had to come to understand that plants are among some of the unhealthiest foods to eat. And fatty meat is the healthiest foods that you can eat. Yeah. That was a surprise. That was an utter surprise. I didn't see that coming. It was actually upsetting to learn that. Because it meant that other things that was resting upon that belief also then were untrue. One belief comes down, it's like boom, 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 boom. Yay, worldviews. And this was a question that came up, and I didn't agree with how it phrased it. And it was like, do we feel in control while eating junk? And I'm like, nope. Nope, it has nothing to do with control. It has everything to do with the familiarity, the comfort, the just enjoying something, a moment that's just for me. Can I at least have one thing that's for me? When we snack, it is not uncommon that we're not thinking about control. We're thinking about what we need. And it's a lot of times it's like a quick meal, get something quick to eat, and you're there. You're there. You get something quick to eat, and now you feel better. You get something quick to eat, and now you've taken the edge off. You really enjoy Reese's Pieces. For me, it's coffee crisp and peanut butter. Oh, Henry, can I talk? and it's just familiarity. It is a reward. It's a little bit of pleasure. It has nothing to do with control. I don't gain control. That being said, how often I'm reluctant to relinquish control over things that I feel give me something I like, even if it's not something I should have. Right? It's unhealthy. Do you deal with that at all? It's like, this thing is unhealthy for you, and you would like to give it up, but you would not give up the control of you deciding whether or not you're going to have it. And I'm not at all suggesting that we give up our control to some other authority and they're going to tell us what to do like a child, so much as just that the junk food and eating that does not give us a sense of control. It's just, we like it. That's it. It's simple. It's easy. I don't have to think about it. It tastes good. That kind of stuff. And even though people will complain about the quality of snacks nowadays, like, oh, it doesn't taste as good as it used to. It's like, well, tastes good enough. Tastes good enough. Oh, yeah. What did switching to real food reveal? What was truly me versus what was cultural programming? Every country, every people group, everybody has a culture. The home I grew up in had as much culture as any other home. And my home, I was denied the sweet food, the junk food, while my mother consumed it without hesitation and without any control, self-control. And I was not allowed to have it. If she made cookies, I was allowed to have the burnt ones. The burnt ones were mine, and she would have the nice ones. And she would tell me, oh, Rodney, you like the burnt ones. Ugh. Yeah, I really like the burnt ones. They're my favorite. And so when I became an adult, I jumped at getting to have the good snacks, the snacks that I like that aren't burnt or really old, not moldy, but just really, really old. I love my mother, and we get along great today. But as a teenager, Mom, what were you thinking? Who likes burnt cookies? Who likes overcooked this or super old that? It reveals that when I learned about what real food is, yes, the snacking, obviously it became apparent that I shouldn't do it, especially of the O. Henry bars and the cookies and the cakes and whatever. But the other thing I really learned is that most cultures, you go back to their ancient ancestry, did not come from a people group that ate plants primarily. Now, well, Rodney, what about the Italians? What about what about the Romans, or what about the Egyptians and stuff like that? Go back further, before they came across agriculture, before agriculture was developed, they were eating animals, and people groups who focused on eating plants dealt with all kinds of health issues that were chronic health issues, non-communicable health issues, and those that primarily ate fatty red meats, they ate. They didn't have as much disease, non-communicable, non. You can't catch them kind of sicknesses. Give me a second here. I just got to put. I'm going to just go on a quick break here for just a moment, and I'll be right back. I had the wrong mic selected. Oh my goodness. And I had this thing a mile away from me because I'm trying to use a different mic. So I was coming across all super quiet. Sorry about that. Okay. Well, I'll use this mic now. And I just got to remember to fix this the next time we get we get together. Okay. Yeah, you know what? There was which healthy teachings turned out to be just noise once I started paying attention to results in my own body. It was even just more than paying attention to the results in my own body. There was okay. It was first learning about all the different, like, starting to learn all the different learning about all the different health advice that's given to us nowadays. So, like, we shouldn't be eating cholesterol. We should be avoiding butter. Lard and tallow are bad for you. We should be eating seed oils. We should be focusing on vegetable oils, plant-based oils, margarine. And I believed what I was learning once I started to learn that stuff is not healthy. I actually believed it. I'm okay. This has got to be true. But sorry about that, Sabrina. I was a little confused, but thank you for letting me know. I appreciate. Where was I? Pay attention. Focus. Oh yeah. Um, it turned out that the okay, so it wasn't okay. What I was saying is that the 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 seed oils, the margarine, and that kind of stuff was not actually good for you. That's what I learned. It's not good for you. And I believed that I did, but I didn't understand just how true that was until I cut it out of my body. Do you know how inflammatory seed oils are? I bet you are. I bet you know. I bet you know. I mean, this is becoming really common information. The seed oils are no good for us, and it causes inflammation in our joints like crazy. I had cut out seed oils and margarine along with carbohydrates. And so I guess the other thing is that, you know, carbohydrates are an essential. You have to have carbohydrates. I had cut that out for 3 weeks, and my back pain went away. I got to confess, I'm not a particularly active man. I am. Yeah. You're hence, you know, Sabrina, that's one of the reasons why I felt a need that I should be trying and do a YouTube channel and start talking about this stuff. I'm not the only one. There's others that do it better. But just another voice talking about the things that we have been taught since we were knee high to a grasshopper, that this is true, that, you know, you don't eat saturated fats, stay away from fatty red meat. Margarine is good for you. You have to have carbohydrates. You must. So I cut that stuff out. The carbohydrates, the seed oils, and margarine. And I'm on the diet for 3 weeks. I'm a lazy man. I don't like exercise. I'm not interested. I'd rather work. There's a pile of wood over there. Take that pile of wood and move it over there. I'll do that all day long. Go to a gym and lift weights all day long, and nothing has happened. I know something's really happened. I know, but nothing has happened. So I don't go to the gym. So I don't have a strong back. I have a sedentary job. I work as a driving instructor. That's what I do, or what I did. I'm not working right now. So I just thought, okay, I'm 220 pounds at 5'4". I sit for a living and I don't exercise. Of course I've got a bad back. No, I don't think I was born with some kind of wild, disformed body. It's just, you're lazy. You don't do much. What do you expect, Rodney? And then all of a sudden, I'm on a job. I'm not on a job. I'm out with my good buddy, and we're in Surrey, British Columbia, Canada. And there's this place called Steveson's Landing. And they sell fish there. And we're like walking around for a couple of hours. And all of a sudden, okay, maybe not that dramatically, but I'm like, wait a second. I did actually reach back there, and I'm like touching. I'm like, I don't have a sore back. I'm tired, right? I mean, you don't exercise. You are going to still be tired, but no pain. No pain whatsoever inside my back. I was tired. Sure enough, we left Steveson's Landing. We went to Walmart, another part of the city, walked around Walmart doing grocery shopping. My back gave me no pain. This hit me just like a ton of bricks, like a 2x4. This stuff that they're talking about with this carnivore diet, they're right. It's not cooked up, cockamamie, just stories. I mean, I'm 50 years old. I've been a part of church. I've been around people. I love my friends. I love my family. But I've learned and heard all kinds of things that are just ridiculous. And I've become very skeptical. I didn't start out that way. I believed everything everyone told me. But now I'm just so skeptical. But I was desperate. I was so overweight. And everything in my life was out of control. At least it felt like that, right? And so this was like, I can gain some kind of like just, I can get something right. I can do something right. It's not so much I was looking for control over it, so much as getting, can I get at least some good results out of something? And there I was, no sore back. Dr. Ken Berry, Dr. Anthony Chafee, Judy Cho from Nutrition with Judy, Stella from Steak and Butter Gal, because she was doing videos back then. This is 2.5 years ago, March 2023. So I think she was already doing her channel. Carrie from Homestead How, I was a month behind him. I am still a month behind him. And he's still done a better job because he was more faithful with it than I was. They were right. They were right. Those seed oils, the carbohydrates, that's where the pain's coming from. Okay, if you break your leg, right? You know, if you have arthritis, but I've been hearing story after story, people with arthritis, they give up this food, they give up this stuff, and what happens? It's incredible. And I'm dramatic by nature. I really am. When I'm around my good buddy Byron, oh, I love my brother. We are two cartoons, man. We have so much fun. And so the way I'm speaking right now, I'm not playing. I'm not just trying to sell you a car. I swear it's brand new. It's only got 50,000 miles on it. I gave up that food. I gave up that stuff. And it was real. It was really real. Good English here, people. Take notes. So who benefits when we stay confused, tired, and grazing all day? I think you know this, but let's say it again. When I think I need to have a snack, that I deserve to have a snack, that I'm bored so I'm going to have a snack, that I'm tired, I want to take the edge off, who benefits from that? Not us. We don't benefit from that. But the processing food companies, they sure as heck do. And indirectly, the farmer does too. I'm a little shy to just throw all kinds of shade at the farmer, because at the end of the day, the farmer, in a lot of ways, they don't benefit financially like the corporations do that, say, own those farms or buy their produce, right? But whoever's making O. Henry, they making bank. And there's very little cost for them and a whole lot of cost for us, because sure, maybe I'm only paying a couple of dollars for the bar, but how much does it cost our health? Yeah, I'm sounding like a commercial, but just think about that. Did you choose to be fat? I don't know what you look like, but for me, I was fat and I didn't choose it. I didn't get up one day going, you know what? Daggum, man, I want to freaking look like John Candy. One of my favorite actors. I loved him. I miss him. Uncle Buck, Planes, Trains, and Automobiles. If you haven't seen them, check it out. Very, very heartfelt, wonderful 80s movies. But I didn't dream of being overweight. It just happened. They got what they wanted. They dreamed of being wealthy. I dreamed of living, and I dreamed of being able to get to have some pleasure. But look at the cost. And then, there was health things that were creeping up on me little by little. Diabetes, I was not diabetic yet, but it was creeping up on me. I was pre-diabetic. Every time I had a normal soda pop, what would happen? Oh my goodness. I'd feel sick, just so sick and just gross. I drank Diet Pop all the time, which I know it's not much better, but I don't feel sick after I have a Diet Pop. Man, I've given up so much. I sound like somebody who's had, you know what? I did. I had a lot of bad habits. The food I was eating, the lifestyle I had, I've given up a lot. I do need to overcome the Diet Pops. But you know, the other thing is the grazing all day. I've been fussing so much over these the what we eat, but also how often. You know, I was learning that like breakfast was not primarily eaten by most of the population back before breakfast became the most important meal of the day. And that what breakfast consisted of when people did eat it was animal products, bacon, eggs, ham, whatever, right? I know in Asia, I was really shocked. I was in the Philippines. I went to the Philippines. It was an amazing trip. I love that place. Definitely going back. And what was breakfast? Rice and eggs, rice and fish. There's no cereal. Now, I still don't think that rice is healthy, but admittedly, there isn't some giant corporation getting rich off of millions of people eating rice. But there is a giant corporation over millions of people eating cereal. And look at all the cereals. And they pack it full of sugar and get our children hooked on it with all the crazy chemicals. Robert Kennedy Jr. is fighting to get all these wild chemicals out of our food. Where is one of the main places they put it? The snacks and cereals. And you're hungry all day, eating multiple times a day. I'm so grateful. I'm now eating once a day. Sometimes twice. I got to own that. Yeah, sometimes it is twice, but primarily actually once a day. You know, I've got a question here I wrote down, and so often I drift with my I drift in my comments with my questions, and I come to my next question. It's like, why did I put this here? Drink bubbly if you need something fizzy. Flavors are good, and there's no aspartame, like in the diet drink. Oh, that's those drinks I seen with some of the live the podcasters and stuff like that. They've got the can of bubbly up on the I've never even thought of those things. I've never paid attention. Sabrina, I'm going to actually make note of that. Where's my make? Oh, I'm using everything that I would make notes with. Yep, I'm using everything I would make notes with. I'm going to remember that. Bubbly. I would assume that would be at Costco. I'm sure it would be at Costco. I have seen it though, being advertised in those podcasters. Yay, English. I stumble a lot. We need to start asking why we believe what we believe, whether it's, about food and comfort and energy and all this kind of stuff. And one of the things that has been landing on me, and I'm trying to be careful here because I'm so used to being a teacher, and I'm usually teaching somebody who does not know nearly as much as I do. And now coming into this space, that's not necessarily the case. But belief. I think that we need to address this thing about what does it mean to believe? When I started to change my beliefs about what food is, it changed my behavior around food. My belief previously was basically, I never even thought about it as this is for sustenance. It's I'm hungry. I don't want to be hungry anymore. I want to have a moment of pleasure. I like eating this thing, so I'm going to eat it. I never thought about it as food, nutrition, sustenance. And I realize now a lot more that belief has to do with what we think of as true about reality and the world around us. And that since we think this thing is true, we are going to shape our lives around that which is true. So to illustrate what I'm saying is like, I believe water is wet. the way that it interacts with the solid things around, that process, we're going to call that wet. And now I formulate my life around that which I believe to be true, which is water is wet. And I'm sure, if we really want to get into science, someone could sit there and tell me a whole bunch of things. Yeah. Just stay with me. Stay with me on this. I believe food is to satisfy my hunger. What kind of choices, what kind of decisions would I make if I believe that food is to satisfy my hunger? Okay. What if I believe that food is there to provide nutrition? What kind of decisions would I make then? What if I believed food is for pleasure? Right? I really think that we need to become more conscious of why we believe. What is believing? So that we can then stand on things and stand for things, which makes it way harder to deceive. I mean, when I was a kid, people told me all kinds of things. I believed that they were telling the truth. That was my belief. That was my reality. So whatever they said, I then shaped my life to be in harmony with what they said. As adults, I don't think that we should be so willing to offer our belief. I think that we should not assume someone is lying, not that, but recognize that everybody can lie. Everybody can tell things that are not true, who may not necessarily even be trying to deceive us. I think that there's very good-hearted people that offer wildly inaccurate information, and they're trying to tell what's true. And I think that as I've come to understand how to believe, why to believe, and what belief is, which I'm still defining that. I don't have it 100% clear, but as I'm getting that understood more and more, I don't jump to believe as quickly as I used to. But once I am, convinced, so to speak, I find myself standing and I know what I'm talking about. I know why I believe what I believe. And so if somebody comes along and wants to challenge me, I'm cool with that. Go ahead and challenge me. That's not a problem. Because my identity is not defined by my beliefs so much as it is rooted in my ability to believe, along with other things. Does that make sense? And I think that one of the reasons why the West is so gullible is that we don't even know what belief is, what truth is, what understanding is, what learning is. I don't think we understand these things. School is not designed for it. School does not teach us how to believe, how to understand, how to learn, how to research or study. We do it, but we don't understand it. And I'm no expert. No, goodness, I'm not an expert. But I've been coming across and starting to learn about these things. I've been coming across these things and learning about them. And it has absolutely changed my worldview. 100%. As I came to understand about what was true, I also started to discover peace. Think about this. When we snack, right? Snack on what we shouldn't be snacking on, right? And we did it before we knew that we shouldn't be doing it. Or it was like, back in the knowledge, I know it's not that good for me, but, that kind of stuff. We would have a moment of peace, a moment of enjoyment, a moment of pleasure within that experience, but very short-lived, as I was saying before. But as I came to understand what belief is and what truth is, and I then stepped into that which I now believe, I gained peace. in all kinds of different points in my life. And I didn't find pleasure so much in just simply losing weight. It wasn't that so much as this is right. This is right. One of my greatest desires is not to be right, not that, but to do what is right. To know what is right and to be able then to do it. I've been really trying to work on this and really be faithful in not chasing after being right, because that's about winning arguments, getting the upper hand, standing tall on the top rung kind of thing. It's not that so much as, oh, so now I'm doing this right. And a calm will come. So now I know when I eat the red meat, the fatty red meat, there's a peace with that. And I mean, I enjoy the meat. I do. It's not as much pleasure as a lasagna or a pizza. True. But when I have a great big juicy steak, eat myself till I'm absolutely stuffed, there ain't no guilt. I actually know I've done the right thing. And it's cool. It's really, really flippin' cool. And there's still so much in my life that needs to get straightened out. It's absolutely true. I'm not perfect. And so many of us will say that. And I'm trying to say this with, it's like I'm in a position right now in this moment within this relationship, I'm talking to you and I get to say it all. I get to say everything. And I'm acknowledging and realizing, I still realize that I am not perfect, and there's always going to be room for growth. But everywhere I get to figure out what is true and then align my life with that is a place where the water becomes calm. And it's just a place of peace. And I can revisit that every time, and it lasts so much longer. Do you get what I mean? It's not an external thing that comes from the outside giving me a moment of pleasure. It's something that wells up from the inside and calms. Oh my goodness, I sound new age. I do. I totally sound new age. But yeah, that's what's happening. That is what's happening. It's really cool. I'm loving learning. And getting to step into these things that I never would have ever understood before, save that I started to chase after what makes belief, which then cured things like guilt, because I now know, okay, it's a journey. And there is going to be times you stumble, and there is going to be times you screw up, and sometimes you just choose, I am going to screw up, I'm having a beer, because I can. And it's not attached to anything. I already have peace within me. So when I choose to have a beer, which I know it's not good for me in any way, shape, or form, it just gives me a moment of pleasure, it is not replacing or trying to replace a lack of peace in my heart. I stay peaceful and I get to enjoy a bit of pleasure. Yeah? I'm not encouraging jumping off your diet. I'm not encouraging, go start, eating a whole bunch of wild things. Not that. So much as where the peace is. Where the peace lies? Yeah, where the peace lies. And this leads to clarity, and you end up doing life through clarity instead of white-knuckled willpower. Have you ever done calorie counting and tried to calorie restrict to starve yourself so that you lose weight? Have you ever done that before? Was it easy? Right? And I'm kind of asking a dumb question, but think about this. When you get clarity on something, it's not that it becomes nothing so much as you're not fighting yourself to do that which you want to do. The clarity comes in, peace comes in, and you have a clear path to the action you want to take. And now all of a sudden, it's not fight. It's, what is it? It's like peaceful journey. And I mean, still, storms will still come, challenges will still come, but you have these places where it's like, I've got this. You know, speaking English, when you were a baby, first learning to speak English, you know how hard it was? I mean, you had to think of everything and trying to get your mouth to form the way you wanted it to form. If you know more than one language, you have a grown-up version of this process. But there's a point where language takes on clarity and it becomes a part of you. And no longer are you thinking about the words so much as you're thinking about what you want to say, and it just comes out. And there's still challenging conversations and sometimes words that are difficult to pronounce, and all of that still takes place. But you're not at war with the language. And I would argue that that's what happens with belief. Clarity comes, and you're not at war with yourself, and now all of a sudden you want to act properly and do the right thing, eat the way you want to eat. You actually can do it. But if we stay with the old belief, but fight it because we're supposed to do something a certain way, I think that will always lose. I really believe that. I think it will always lose. As I've seen wonderful, amazing people who are at war with themselves trying to lose weight, and they never succeed. They're always at war. Someone's got to lose. Either both lose or one's going to lose. I'd rather both win. When you get clarity, your heart, your soul, your body, your mind all get to win. And for me, as a Christian, not that Jesus Christ needs my help, but he gets to win, at least with me. I ain't nobody special, but man, I want to win. You know what I'm saying? So I put this question down, and I think this really works. What does food mean to me now compared to what it meant to me before? So before, I was talking about it was just something to eat. I'm hungry, right? Now, food is nutrition. It's a tool to accomplish a goal, which means I also understand now that my life is more than just working for somebody, making somebody else rich, getting a little bit of pleasure, and trying to survive until the weekend where I get to relax and rest to then grudgingly drag myself back to work on Monday. You and I are more than that. And we've been hearing this. We have been hearing this. If you've gone anywhere in our society today, this message is coming out more and more. Sabrina, if you're still here, I'm telling you, you are worth more than that. You who is not Sabrina, who is watching this, you are worth more than just a moment of pleasure, a time of a little experience. I got to go to the Philippines, and it was an experience, but it's not a part of me. But if I was to stay there, what if I decided to live there? It would become a part of me. If we ate food that was nutritious for us, we could create. Because you see, our bodies will become healed, right? We'll get a healthy body, which gives us a healthy mind. And a healthy mind and a healthy body lends itself for a place for a healthy spirit. And I am fully convinced that creativity comes from our spirit. Through Jesus Christ, from Jesus Christ, he gave it to us. We are his image bearers, absolutely. But when we are healthy, we can create, we can make, we can build, we can, it sounds so cheesy, we can conquest. Imagine being a part of something that's bigger than yourself, So you're still giving yourself to something that's bigger than you, but it's no longer just a corporate job. It's no longer just a minimum wage job. It's no longer some grind where you're just paying off debts and trying to make it to retirement where you can then finally relax when you're too day-gum old to even enjoy the flipping money that you done made. Maybe I've thought about this once or twice. You know, the food that we have been convinced to eat on a regular basis, highly, processed foods, plant-based foods, and I'm specifically thinking processed. When I say processed foods, I'm thinking specifically of plant-based foods. They were designed, the word I'm looking for is not designed, but that food came into fruition because there was a need to feed large populations that were not valued. They offered one simple thing: labor. They offered work. And feeding them a bunch of just wheat, grains, and plant-based foods was way cheaper than feeding them animals. Animals are far more expensive. They're more work. They take more money. Plants, they are just cheaper. And that food was developed, there's what I was looking for, to feed the poor man, but also it had a side effect, which was it kept the poor man poor, and it starved the poor man of his brain, of his spirit, of his body. And so he would be taxed, his mind, his body, his spirit, for the benefit of the kingdom. And then he would die, and he would be forgotten. And I believe that the food that we're eating today is of the same caliber. It's the same product. It just keeps you poor, tired, sick. We can do more. We're worth more. You have so much more to offer this world than just the food, than just the labor that you have to offer. You can create, you can build, you can make. And you can become a part of something great. And if we change our diets, our minds have a greater ability of coming alive so that we can build, so that we can make. If somebody feels trapped in snacking habits, in just bad food habits, understanding that food is meant for nutrition, I think, will be the journey of getting out of the situation that you find yourself in. Now, here's a big one. I'm really, okay. You don't have to actually stop snacking right away. I didn't. All I did is I changed what I was snacking. So I had my meal, and then I was nibbly later. Eggs, shrimp, scallops, cold chicken, warm chicken, pepperoni, hot dogs. Yeah, I know. And I'm just talking about the wiener. People will say, well, look at all the chemicals. Yeah, absolutely, 1,000% you're not wrong. But when you're first coming off of the standard American diet, you need a crutch. You're going to have cravings. That's going to take place. So snack. Snack on butter. Snack on lard if you can tolerate it. Snack on tallow if you can tolerate it. Get some chicken skins. Fry that up and eat it. Don't stop snacking. Just guide the snacking. You see, our emotions are like children. You cannot force children to be that which you want them to be, but you can guide them to go in the direction where you need them to go. Guide your heart. Guide your feelings. Guide your cravings. Guide them. Okay. I'm craving. I clearly need sustenance. Clearly, I need sustenance. Meat. And just like you would do a young child or even a teenager, there are certain things you don't give in on. You're 14 years old. You are not driving the car. I don't care. You're very responsible. I bet you're the most capable 14-year-old that ever lived. You're not driving the car. That's not happening. Not until you get your driver's license. Right? Think about how stubborn you'd be with a 14-year-old that demanded to drive a car on the road. That's what I did for myself. You can eat as much as you want. You can sit in that car as much as you want. You're just not allowed to drive it. I'll take you anywhere. You can be a passenger in the car. I'll take you where you need to go. You're not driving. You can eat anytime you want as long as it's meat. It's what I did, and it's not... I say this in a way of trying to offer assurance. It's like we got to be real. Of course, it's going to be... I think it's going to be difficult at first. Figuring out what meats you need, what meats your body is going to, even just tolerate. I mean, maybe you have an autoimmune disease, so all of a sudden you can't have bacon and pork. Maybe you can't touch it. Maybe egg whites drive you nuts. But once you get it figured out, you just then guide yourself, lead your heart. I've heard so often my whole life, follow your heart. I absolutely disagree with that now. Nope. Lead your heart. Bring your heart with you. Because it's your heart. Your heart is where your passion lives. Your mind is where the leader lives. I am going to lose weight. And I sure as heck am going to get healthy. And ain't nothing standing in the way of that. I'm going to take a 5-minute break. Maybe a little bit less. I won't be long. Just going to take a quick break. And I'll be back. See you in a minute. thank you for sticking around. My goodness gracious. I'm having fun. I'm having so much fun. I love talking about this stuff. Really, one of my favorite things to do is to talk about ideas, to talk about concepts. And what I've discovered about this format is to be able to introduce and start talking in ideas and concepts. And I hope it grows. You know what I'm saying? I hope it grows. I'm going to go back to just this thing here. Talking about belief, and I left this one question out, but now I think I'm gonna engage with it. And that's this. How is replacing one snack with real food actually rebuilding belief? It's one thing to come to understand something, right? It's one thing to go, okay, I understand this thing. I get it now. But you know how the title said one step at a time? What one snack is that one step? When I first adopted this diet, I got to admit, I dove in headlong, just went nuts because it was like, I was convinced. But I started with simple things, and no more chocolate bars, pepperoni. Then I love chicken wings. And at 7-Eleven, there were these, come on, they were called pub wings. And they were just salt and the chicken wing, and it was cooked, and that's all it was. And I replicated, come on, I ate that. And it replaced what I normally ate. And it tasted good. And that's all it needed to be. And when I saw the benefits from stepping into what I understood to be true, it rebuilt my beliefs into something new. I still haven't found my spiritual home, or church, because the church I belong to, I was like, oh, these guys aren't teaching the truth anymore. Okay, or not anymore. They never did. But at least I know I'm doing this right. And I got to, I don't know, like I've never, I was about to say I've never met any carnivore, but that's not true. I got to talk to Dave from his channel's like low carb or no carb life. He lives in Japan, has his YouTube channel. And I got to talk to him. And that happened because I became a carnivore and started to have success, and I wanted to talk about it. As Dave was like, come onto my channel, let's talk. I look forward to the day when I can start talking to some of you and being able to engage and we help each other and support each other and become another community, When I changed my food, I was stepping into something more than just a diet to lose weight. You know what I mean? I'm still growing. Yeah, I am still growing. And I still have so much to learn. If you are not actually in the carnivore diet, I'll start with this first. The first thing to do is start slowly. Keep eating your vegetables, keep eating your carbohydrates. Maybe cut out your sugar drinks and go over to a diet drink, because that'll help you with your blood sugar, but just do it the same. But start increasing your protein and your animal fat. Don't cook in margarine, cook in butter. or cooking tallow. If you get your hands on it, or I still actually have, what's it called? I'll just call it baker's lard. The bricks of tender flake lard. And I just put that in the frying pan. I cook with that. And that change has a huge impact on your health. And instead of cutting off the white of the steak, leave it on. The skin, don't take that skin off of the fish. Eat it. And the chicken, which is what I meant to say, but the fish is true too. But the chicken, eat that skin. Salt. Do you know salt is actually good for you? I was told since I was knee-high to a grasshopper that salt is not good for you. It hardens your arteries, they would say. I now know that's not true. Now, I don't fully understand what actually causes artery hardening. I know it has something to do with stress and the foods that we eat. Not salt, but things like, I think, like seed oils and I want to say sugar. I don't fully understand. And just high stress, like if you have a very, very stressful life, that also can cause issues with that as well. But that's about as much as I know. Eat salt. Consume a lot more of it. Don't eat gross amounts of it. Like if it tastes disgusting, okay, that's too much. But your body actually needs sodium. I started increasing my fish intake. It's not for everybody. I love sardines. You may not love sardines, but if you don't mind or if you enjoy seafood, eat it. It's full of potassium, magnesium, iodine. That's why I said iron. I wanted to say iodine. It's good for you. And I found I was getting leg cramps early on in my carnivore journey, and I just upped my salt intake and my seafood intake. I don't get cramps in my legs anymore, and especially in the middle of the night, cotton picking Charlie horse. Yow, that hurts. Yeah, no, I don't want to experience. I don't want to ever experience that again. And then as you journey, as you continue on with this diet, a little bit more fat, a little bit more meat, butter, lard, and cut down on the plants. And if you are going to go full carnivore, just take it all the way until you're full carnivore. It's easier for your body because your body can really it can get quite upset as you shift dramatically from one diet to another or suddenly. And the other thing is that when you are eating, pardon me, let's try this again. Okay, you consume sugar. Pardon me, you consume salt, potassium. It deals with a phone call just came through, and I'm getting distracted with that phone call, and I lost my thought and what I was trying to say. Gain control of your energy piece. Sugar. What was I trying to say? Consume the salt, consume the potassium. It deals with the cramps in your legs. You eat slowly. If you're going to go for full carnivore, you will eventually get to a place where you can eat all meat, and you won't need any plants. And your body will adjust as it gets used to you eating the carnivore diet. It'll absolutely adjust. And you'll gain control of your body, and you're going to actually find that you get much more in tune with your body. You're going to know what is an actual hunger signal versus I'm bored. What is actual thirst versus I'm just used to drinking. This is one of the things that, okay, now this one is really against what we get taught a lot. We're told all the time, you've got to consume as much fluids as you possibly can, 2 liters a day. I'm not sure if I'm convinced about that 2 liters a day anymore. I'm not an expert. but just things I've been learning about people around the world who come from hot places and how much fluids they actually consume. And what fluids do in our bodies when it comes to our sodium and our electrolytes. Especially because the fluids that we consume tend to be devoid of electrolytes since they've gone through so much filtering. And you take a look at city water, Lord, have mercy. If you're drinking well water, fresh, clean well water, you're doing better. In my opinion, I think you're doing better. But it seems that we don't need gallons of water a day. Do your own research on this. Really look into it. I found this information. I forget now what I was reading and what I was listening to. It was probably what I was listening to when it comes to the consumption of water. But there's people that have done some research outside of North America with athletes, because I think a lot of our water consumption advice comes from measuring athletes. And if you're sweating like a horse, like a racehorse, I think then, yes, you need to consume a lot more. But if you aren't sweating at all, then why are you drinking so much? When I was in the Philippines, I was sweating like a racehorse. And I had to consume so much more water. And I found that when I didn't, I kind of got sick. I almost got dehydrated, and I'm really glad I didn't. I saw a video of somebody that did get dehydrated, and it took them days to actually overcome that. But I was sweating so much. But here in the East Coast of Canada, I don't sweat all that much. Do I need 2 liters of water then every day? I don't think so. I think that we need the sodium that we need, the food that we need, the water that we need, but I don't think we need as much water as we're drinking. And think about this. If we get everybody, millions of people across the United States, believing they have to have 2 liters of water every single day, and the only way to get that water is by filtered, paid-for water, again, who benefits from that? I mean, I'll leave it at that. Conspiracy theory. Okay. This sounds like I'm asking the same question twice, but hear this. Beyond the physical, how has real food changed your clarity, patience, and purpose? Clarity, my brain is working way better than it used to. My brain, I have ADHD. I'm not saying that for the purposes of excuses. Don't. It's not about excuses. Just that I have ADHD, and the diet has made it so my mind is less cloudy. I'm able to see my thoughts. I'm able to understand what I'm watching, what I'm thinking, what I'm reading. And what I mean by understand is that I can see the thought all the way through. I still get distracted and have the attention span of a squirrel, but I can keep my thoughts and I can see it all the way through, which previously that wasn't available. I couldn't do it. I couldn't pay attention like I used to. Let me try that again because I'm getting distracted. So I still have ADHD. My diet made it so that I could pay attention a whole lot better, though I still don't have a good attention span. But the big thing is that I'm able to think thoughts all the way through. And I'm able to retain what I'm thinking about and retain decisions that I've made a lot better. It's not perfect still, and I don't know. I have no idea how people who are top performing individuals contend with memory 50 years ago. But you see, Sabrina, I should pay closer attention to what you write there. I didn't know that. I did not know that. You see, I'm still learning when it comes to this, but it just, as I was learning, okay, I'm about to get defensive, like, oh my goodness, but I'm right. No. You're making a solid point, and I didn't know that they would include the food that you're eating as well. The water within the food, they're also including that. Okay, and that's important. I wonder how much fluids that would be when you're eating one meal a day like I am versus the multiple times a day that people are eating normally. And then what would be the variation? Yeah, those are questions I don't have answers for, but that's interesting. I didn't know that. Oh, this, I'm not even using this. Let's get that off. Okay, so clarity and then patience. Patience, I'm still struggling with patience, but I don't think that's food related. That's situation, the life that I'm leading challenge. I think that I wonder what my patience would be like if other areas of my life were sorted out. I wonder what my patience would be like. I know that right now I'm feeling really, really good. I'm having a productive conversation. I'm actually delivering this content relatively well in comparison to what I've done previously. And so that feels good. And so if something was to happen right now, my patience wouldn't be, I wouldn't get triggered, right? that word gets overused, but I wouldn't get triggered. But, when I'm not in this moment where I'm getting to enjoy myself so much, what is my patience like? It's still poor. And it's definitely got to improve. But that will happen, I believe, when other areas of my life become settled. I've got my health thing settled, and so that's good. And so there's other areas. I'm not going to, this is not that kind of live stream. And so that's that. So my patience still, that's got to grow. But what about purpose? Okay. When I was a driving instructor, I did not believe that my job was just to teach somebody how to maneuver and drive a car. I believed that my job was to help somebody be successful on the road. And the principles that would lead them to be successful on the road in the city are the same principles that would help us be successful in life. And so I would take those principles, those ideas from life, where it's like, look at their success, and I would bring that over to the road. And I would take those things that were true and help somebody who could not drive, who was afraid to drive, who had a terrible time doing driving, get to a place where they could pass the road test with flying colors. Was I teaching driving, or was I teaching, man, let me just say this in a better way. I got to step into someone's life where they needed help, and I got to actually help them for real. And they were able to get on the road, and this is at least one person that isn't going to be causing car crashes on the road if they adhere to what I had taught them. What if I could do that for people's health? What if this epidemic of diabetes, heart disease, dementia, lung cancer, just cancers, fatty liver disease, all these communicable, non-communicable diseases that our society is plagued with, what if I could be a part of the solution instead of being a part of the problem? That'd be cool, you know what I'm saying? Like that would be cool. I believe that I can teach. I think I can teach. And I think I would like it if I got to be a part of teaching this, along with helping be an encourager. When I was helping people learn how to drive, so often I was helping them overcome anxiety, depression, trauma, They had learning disabilities, and helping them see that even though they have learning disabilities, they can be successful. They can do it. They don't have to fail. They don't have to be last. They can make it. Well, what if I got to help people who have been fighting their health their whole life? What if I got to be a part of helping them? So many people have helped me. I am where I am today because others stepped in and said, here, Rodney, let me help you. That is where the name Rodney Full Circle comes from. Others invested into me, and I got to live an amazing life, and I got to do incredible things because of them. And I think that it is important and my responsibility and my duty to give to those, to give to others, like others have given to me. They helped me. And I would like to get to be a part of helping others. And I guess there's a selfish component to this. There is, because it's tremendously fulfilling, and there's so much that you can do with that, right? It's like, there is that. But then, like I believe in capitalism. I really do. And yes, I can have a discussion with that at a different point. But I got a point that has to do with the carnivore diet, that has to do with getting better and helping people with this. And that is this. You cannot be successful with startup businesses in a capitalist community, society without serving the community. Starbucks is as successful as it is because they actually provide people what they want. Quick coffee. I did not say cheap. I don't know why people pay those prices. Amazon is as successful as it is because it provides people what they want or what they need. The doctor gets paid as much as he does because of what she provides, of what people need. And if I could be a part of providing what people need, I would be doing good in this world and making the world just a little tiny bit better. Because there's so much that's wrong in this world. And I think one of the major causes of that is people focusing on just serving themselves. And I don't think it's their fault. I think that they get taught this in school. Go to work. No, get an education so you can get a job, so you can get a paycheck, so you can pay for your life. And you're only doing that so that you can get for yourself. Hence, there's this disconnect in a lot of ways with young people who went ahead and got an education in something that they were interested in, only to find out that their education has no value in the marketplace and they can't get a job within the education that they now are seriously in debt for. Where could we provide? Where can we help? I'm rambling. As some wonderful people say, I digress. I think all of us can serve and be a part of making this world a better place. And it doesn't have to be grand. Mine's not grand. Most of us, it's not grand, but man, it can matter. All the water in the river came from a raindrop. I'd like to be a part of that river. That good river. I want a good river. Be a good river. I do not believe that self-control... Okay, the question I got at the end here, it says, do you believe self-control is really about discipline, or is it about clarity and peace? You know, you think about the purpose I just talked about, and being able to give to the world around you and being able to serve the world around you. You will be able to have better control over yourself because you're part of something bigger than yourself. A part of something that is good, a part of something that is right, a part of something that is true. You can have control over yourself if you give yourself over to something that is bigger and better than you, better than me, better than us. Does that make sense? I'm wanting to say us because I'm feeling like I'm pointing my finger at you, like I've got it all figured out. No, 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 no. It's so much. This is the stuff I've been getting and learning. And back to the full circle. Others taught me this. They said, Rodney, you matter. And because you matter, because you're valuable, because you have something in you that's absolutely valuable, when you share that with others, you make the world a better place. Go do it. And when you're healthy and your body is good and your mind is good and your spirit is good, Lord have mercy, we can make the world a better place. I'm not kidding. I'm not exaggerating. I believe that if the whole world was to take on the carnivore diet, the struggles that the farming community is having over the environmental impact that they are having, and yeah, I'm going to argue that's actually pretty real, that the farming that is done to feed the standard American diet to the world is having a major negative effect on the environment. I think that's true. But I also believe that if we were to adopt the carnivore diet and live off of the land through the animals, we could heal this land. Yeah, 1960s songs. Oh, man. Anyways. And we could have that self-control that so many of us desire. I think a lot of us struggle with a lack of self-control because our mind and our body are in disharmony with each other, which causes our spirit to be in disharmony with each other, which causes us to be subject and prey to our appetites and passions. We can't lead ourselves. We can't lead our heart because we're weak. But if we could become strong and powerful, think about what we could do. Let me read something here. Because discipline only gets you started, it's like a spark, good for a moment, but it burns out fast. If you don't know why you're doing what you're doing, real self-control. I didn't read that right. But it burns out fast if you don't know why you're doing what you're doing. Real self-control comes from clarity. When you see clearly what's true, what you want, and what actually brings you life, peace follows. I'm going to add to that. And passion. And when you have peace, you don't have to fight yourself anymore. You're not wrestling every decision. You just live out what you already know to be true. It becomes a part of you. It's yours. It's you. Discipline becomes the tool, not the fuel. The fuel is clarity, which brings you peace. So maybe self-control isn't about trying harder. I don't think it is. I don't think self-control has to do with trying harder as I continue to read here. Maybe it's about seeing clearer. That's what it's done for me. Every time I've seen clearer about something, I get peace and I can see what my action needs to be and I'm ready to do it. Amen. Because once you have clarity and peace, discipline stops feeling like punishment. It starts feeling like freedom. You remember from the Bible, Jesus says, the truth shall set you free. I think that's all in line. Okay, so I can't eat, the sugar that I like or the cakes that I like or, I refrain from having beer or whatever. I refrain. But I get to have a healthy body and a healthy mind. And greatness comes from those who do, not from those who consume. I want to be able to do. And I hope you too. You don't have to be sick. Let me show you another way. That is my line that I've adopted for this channel, along with the Rodney Full Circle, where I'm coming from. And that concludes everything that I wrote down for today's live stream. Do you have any questions? Do you have any thoughts? Go ahead and share that in the chat. I appreciate you, Sabrina, for sharing as you have and offering some insight. I appreciate that very much. I never dreamed what the carnivore diet was going to become for me. I couldn't have seen it. I didn't know what I was getting into. I was just, I don't know, open to knowledge, open to learning. And I have come to love learning. And I ended up finding the carnivore diet, and it's flipped my life on its head. But I wouldn't trade it. As much as I've had to give up for it, I also wouldn't trade it. Dementia, heart disease, diabetes, I don't think that my health or those things, I don't think those things are worth my health. I think my health is worth more. I can't eat the way that everybody else does. And I don't mind. After this, I'm going to go downstairs and I'm going to make myself something to eat. It's going to be a little bit more because I didn't have enough earlier today. So I'm going to go have some more. So it's slight intermittent fasting. I am eating twice, but it's within a certain period of time. Right now, I just find myself just hungry a bit more than normal, than what I would like. But I like this. I like knowing how my body works, and I feel assurance that I'm doing what is right. I think I'm doing what's right. And it feels good. It feels really good. God bless you. Thank you for watching. May you have an amazing day, an amazing evening, and the rest of your week. May you have success that is meaningful to you. And I'll catch you in the next live stream. If everything works out, I'll be on again Friday. God bless. Bye for now.